Hi everybody. Thank you for attending this session, and thank you to Max who just then talked us through about how to spend our levy. What I thought would be a good idea as well in the employer session today was just to talk about not only apprenticeships, although that is obviously the key theme for today, but also other initiatives that are out there that can really support young people into our industry and support you guys as employers to look to develop your workforce. So what I'm going to be looking at today is I thought it would be just set a bit of context to look at some of the unemployment figures that have recently been published. Then I'm going to talk through the government's Plans for Jobs initiative, including Kickstart, as I'm sure you've heard of, apprenticeships, which we're very familiar with, and traineeships, which we could be less familiar with. Then just a few minutes talking about a hot off the press white paper recently published by the government on further education and reforms over the coming years. So just to look at some unemployment levels at the minute. So you may have heard in the news recently that unemployment is at the highest level for about 4 years. So that's at 5%. This is being distorted slightly because there are millions more individuals placed on furlough. Now, the Office for Budget Responsibility predicts a further increase in unemployment levels when furlough comes to an end, increasing to about 7.5%, which accounts for about 2.6 million people of working age who are out of work in unemployment. Now, that's actually affecting disproportionately 16 to 24-year-olds, so younger workers have really been hit the hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. This is really in part due to younger people often working in sectors of the economy that perhaps have suffered most from physical distancing and lockdown, hospitality being a key one of them. So unemployment level is at a high, and I think it's important also to just have a look at job vacancies. So what's the pool of jobs out there that these young people can access now? Job vacancies are actually a third of what they were pre-pandemic. So as a result of repeated lockdowns, lack of clarity about what's happening in the future, continued COVID restrictions, the jobs aren't actually there for the high level of unemployment to access. And when they do, there's hundreds and hundreds of people going for one job. So the government back in, I think it was July now, put in place their Plans for Jobs initiative, which is really crucial in supporting the economic recovery. And as we can see from the chart here, we've started to see vacancies reappear. So as part of the Plans for Jobs initiative, we have the Kickstart scheme, which I'll talk about, obviously, our apprenticeships and our traineeship provision. But if we start with Kickstart, so I'm not sure how familiar people are with Kickstart, but Kickstart's a high quality 6-month work placement for individuals who are aged 16 to 24, who are currently out of work and who are deemed at risk of long-term unemployment. So as part of the Kickstart scheme, there's no cost to the employer, and the employer will receive a £1,500 payment to support the setup of that Kickstart. So, as I say, with the Kickstart scheme, a new role within your organisation can be funded up to 6 months. Up to 6 months, and as an employer, you will receive £1,500 incentive really to support that employer within the workplace. Now, as part of Kickstart, there is some additional training that's offered for the placement. So employability support is given to the individuals, with the main aim of the programme being to make sure that the young person is more employable when they finish the 6-month programme than what they were when they started. Now, The intent of the programme is leading to sustainable work, ideally within the organisation who had the placement. However, that support of employability is ensuring that if they aren't sustainable with your organisation, they are then building the confidence, building the resilience, building their employability skills to then be successful elsewhere. A couple of things to note about this: it is only 16 to 24-year-olds who are currently out of work, and it has to be a referral from the job centre. So you can't open recruitment. There is a process to go through, and these young people are referred by local job centres. BPIF are actually a Kickstart gateway who can fully support you with this process. As you can imagine, with anything government-funded initiative, there's a little bureaucracy there, but BPIF can help navigate you through that. So if there are any questions, if it's something that you are interested in, then please do get in touch with us. We're currently supporting over 100 placements within our industry, and we are well placed to support you as well. With regard to traineeships are similar in some regard to Kickstart, in so far as it's a high quality work placement for a young person aged 16 to 24. However, a traineeship isn't a referral from a job centre. Anybody aged 16 to 24 who don't have high level skills actually can apply for a traineeship. So as with Kickstart, there's no cost to the employer. And whilst there's no cost to the employer, and what we mean by that is if a young person's on a traineeship, they don't get paid a salary. So whilst there's no cost, employers may contribute to the travel and subsistence costs of the young person, and we'd always recommend that. If an organisation does have a traineeship placement, there is an incentive of £1,000 per trainee, limited to 10 trainees within your organisation. And what is a traineeship? So it's work preparation training, almost pre-apprenticeship training. So a young person will come into your organisation, they will have work experience, high quality work experience, but alongside that, they will receive training to support their English, maths and digital skills development, also employability skills, also some technical training as well. Traineeships generally last between 6 weeks and 12 months. However, we would suggest a high quality traineeship programme would be around 3 months in duration before then progressing onto an apprenticeship. And then obviously we come to apprenticeships. So we know that apprenticeships are high quality, provide a real new job with substantive high quality training, with the intention again to enter into sustainable employment. So in terms of employer costs for apprentices, so the employer is responsible for the wages of the apprentice to at least minimum wage, which is currently £4.15 per hour for a 16-year-old apprentice, certainly in their first year. For levy payers, as Max alluded to in the previous session, 100% of the cost of the apprenticeship will be taken directly from your levy pot, whereas if you're a non-levy payer, you contribute to 5% of the training costs of the apprenticeship. So in terms of the offer that BKF have, this could be anywhere between about £250 and £750, depending on the qualification. Now, if you were to take on an apprentice new to a business before the 31st of March, there are some incentive payments available under the Plans for Jobs initiative. So there's £2,000 if you were going to take on a 16 to 24-year-old, £1,500 for anyone aged 25 plus. Now, there is not a catch, I wouldn't call it that, but the purpose of apprenticeship is sustainable employment. So the incentives are paid at 90 days and after a year in equal measures. This is on top of any incentive payments that you would get for being a small employer hiring a 16 to 18-year-old. Obviously, with an apprenticeship, you're getting the on-the-job technical training. However, there is a requirement of off-the-job training, 20%, and I'm sure that Aaron will talk about that as we move on to the next session. An apprenticeship must last for 12 months and are open really to anybody aged over the age of 16. I thought it might be useful just to look also at some apprenticeship statistics over the previous 12 months. So apprenticeship starts are starting to recover, with new data released in the last 3 or 4 weeks showing a less dramatic drop amid the pandemic. However, if we compare previous academic years, we can see that there was 91 starts nationally recorded from August to October 20, so last year, compared to about 125,000 reported for the same period the previous year, so pre-COVID. So that's about a 28% fall. However, this is an improved picture on the previous quarter. So, May to July, when we were first entering into the COVID months, if we call it that, when there was a 42% fall in apprenticeship take-up. I think it's important to note that the biggest fall was those aged 19 and under, which correlates, I suppose, with the previous slides that we saw, showing unemployment to 16 to 24-year-olds. And also starts for a level 2 apprenticeship had the biggest fall, dropping by about 43%. So what that's telling me really is that young people accessing entry-level level 2 apprenticeships are being affected by this pandemic more so than other demographics. So I think as an industry, that's probably something for us to consider if we want to bring new, fresh individuals into our industry, and look at building them for the future leaders of our industry. I just want to finish really on the Skills for Jobs white paper, the FE reforms, and just how this may affect how we deliver training moving forward. Now, FE is reformed every 5 or so years, so we never really get into a constant. So we're well used to this now. But the 5 key themes are nothing really new to us, and I think as the BKF we really welcome some of the reforms of the future because it's really leading to high quality sustainable provision. So the 5 key themes are really putting employers at the heart of the system moving forward. So the education and training leads to jobs that improves productivity, fills skill gaps, and really helps organisations and the economy recover from the pandemic. Second theme is around investing in higher level technical qualifications which provide that alternative to university degree. Third theme is around making sure that people can access training and learning flexibly throughout their lives, and are well informed about what's on offer. So that's all around the careers support and guidance that's offered to young people. And I know that Darren and Mika will be talking about our skills engagement programme a little later. The fourth theme is around reforming funding, just to make it easier for providers such as ourselves to access funding either on your behalf or for you to use your funding appropriately for your organisation. With the 5th theme there, really supporting excellence in teaching and further education. So that brings me really to the end of what I wanted to talk about this morning in terms of the Plans for Jobs initiatives. And what I will say is, if you do have any questions, please join us in the networking area, either between sessions or a little later on, or contact myself or any other member of our team who will be able to hopefully talk you through some of the initiatives that we have on offer.